everyone. This is Jeff Cowan coming to you from Jeff Cowan's Pro Talk with my weekly podcast entitled Write Service, Write Your Own Paycheck, the path to making over $100,000 a year writing service in the automotive industry, because at this taping, that's exactly what's going on. 20% of you out there in the automotive field writing service today are making, 20% of you are making over six figures. That means 80% of you are not. So why do you want to listen to this podcast? Because the 80% of you that are not, I'm going to show you how so that you can make those types of monies as well. And for those of you who are already making six figures or more, I'm going to show you how to even make more, and not only make more, but do it in an easier fashion, getting higher survey scores and the highest customer retention possible. Well, today I come to you with a great topic, and here's what it is. You know, I've discovered that once a service advisor is in service for a year, they almost become untrainable. As a matter of fact, and I go to a lot of meetings, I do a lot of Dealer 20 meetings in my workshops. It's not uncommon for a manager or a leader or a business owner to raise their hand and say, you know, it just seems like my people aren't trainable. No matter what type of training that I show them, they're either reluctant to try it, reluctant to use it, and they get discouraged and the whole thing. It just seems like they're almost untrainable. What do you think is going on? Well, here I know exactly what's going on. When you get a brand new service advisor in that's never written service, they're the easiest people to train. Why? Because they don't know what's right and they don't know what's wrong. So they only know what's right if you tell them it's right. There's no bad habits. But no matter how little somebody knows about service and no matter what their background is, it seems like once they reach a year in the job, that's about the point they become untrainable. Why? Because for the first several months they were in the business, you had them follow somebody who's done very well at the job, or you had a training program and you got them used to a system that delivered what it was supposed to, what you told them it would. It delivered a certain income and a certain amount of stability, and they get comfortable. So what happens? Well, what happens then is after that first year or so, you bring something new in that changes up what you've had them doing before, even if it's a small thing or a big thing, and what happens is fear kicks in. It's not that they don't want to be the best they can be, they're afraid to change. Change is always the big enemy, it seems like, when we start talking about changing anything. And the reason change is always the big enemy is because it's really based in fear. Now, what do I mean? I've had advisors tell me this. Jeff, you know, before you got here, I was making X, which is more than I thought I was going to make, or is exactly what they said I was going to make, which is more, in either instance, more than I was ever making before. And by making that money, I'm making my car payment, I'm making my mortgage payment, my kids are fed, they're educated, I got money enough to set aside and go on nice vacations, so everything's working for me. You come in, you say you've got something different, and that if I do it, the job's going to be easier, I'm going to have higher survey scores, I'm going to have higher customer retention, and I'm going to make more money. And if that happens, that's great. But if it doesn't happen and I go backwards and I stop making the amount of money I'm used to, and I can't make my mortgage payment, and I can't make my car payment, and I can't feed my kids, that scares me. That's the real reason many people are reluctant to change, and that's the real reason after a year of writing service, most people blow off training because they're comfortable with what they're doing, they're comfortable how they're doing it, and most importantly, they're comfortable with the results they are getting. So, when you see things through fear, when you see training through fear, when you see things change through fear, advisors, I'm talking to you, and anybody being trained, here's what happens. There's typically 5 different things. Number 1, you underestimate your abilities. You assume that this change is going to be too tough. You assume this change is going to be too hard. You assume that it's impossible to get this done, and you underestimate your abilities. Now, how do I know this? Because when I first started my company, Pro Talk, and I went and I tried to show people and tried to teach people how to do what it was that I know worked the best, I got a lot of pushback. You could stand in a class and deliver the best workshop ever, and people would say, yeah, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen, but they wouldn't try it on the drive. You could even go stand on the service drive beside them and teach them and ask them to do it, and they would still not do it. Why? Because they feared the change. So what I did when I started my company is this. 85% of the time that we're in any business, we're out on the service drive side by side with the advisors, coaching, critiquing, role-playing, and even writing service. We do just that. We write service. Now, what do I mean? I can't tell you the last time me or any of my trainers were on a service drive where there wasn't at least 1 or 2 service advisors that said, you know, if this is so easy and what you have is so good, let me see you do it. So what we did and what we built the company on is based off of that. You fear this. There's a reason you don't want to do that word track. I've asked you now 4 times to do it, and you still can't do it or you won't do it. I've asked you several times to walk around a car. You either won't do it, or when you do it, there's nobody around, meaning the customers aren't with you. So it's obvious you fear what it is I'm asking you to do. You fear you're going to look silly. You fear you're going to go backwards in your income. You fear something here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write up your next 6 or 7 customers, and I'm going to use every word that I'm asking you to use, every word track exactly the way it's laid out. I'm going to do every part of the physical part of the write-up that I'm asking you to do exactly the way I've asked you to do it. At the end of those 6 write-ups, if it's not working, then I will go off into a room with you and we'll come up with a different way. But if it works, you just have to promise me that you will try it. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because you know what happens? It only takes 2 or 3 write-ups, and the service advisor all of a sudden sees this word track didn't hurt anybody. Nobody got mad. As a matter of fact, the exact opposite happened. People seem to be happier with what it is they were asking me to do. When it came to the physical part, nobody got mad. Nobody got upset. They actually got excited, and they bought more, and they get it. The fear is gone, and now they're willing to go on. But what happens is when we see training through the eyes of fear, we fear the change, and we underestimate our abilities. So the best way around that is either you have to be bold as an individual and just say, you know what, if somebody wrote this down and they think it's better, I'm going to give it everything I've got as an individual, and I'm going to work it for everything I've got, and it's either going to work like they said or it's not. I'm willing to give it a shot, and that's hard to find people that would do that, but that's the kind of person you need to be. That's the kind of person I'm in. Or as a leader, or if you have a leader that's asking you to do something, you just have to trust that this leader has been down this road and they're basing what they're asking you to do based on information you'll never have. Number 2, here's what happens when we see things through fear, when we see the training through fear or the change through fear. We gripe. We gripe. We complain. Don't know why my way isn't good enough. I've been here for a year and I'm getting these numbers in this area, these numbers in this area. I'm making this much money. I'm selling this much. I don't know why my way's not good enough. Or, you know what, it seems like no matter what I do, boss, nothing's ever good enough. And so we gripe. And what happens is by griping, weak leaders don't want to hear us gripe. They back off and we never do the training. We gripe our way out of it instead of just saying, you know what, why gripe about it? Why am I looking at this so negative? What would happen if it works? Number 3, what we do is we exaggerate our difficulties. Well, you know what? If I did what they're asking me to do the training, then that might work here, but I'm going to have to change this over here. And if I change this over here, I'm going to have to change it over there. Or more commonly, boy, if I was really to study and do what you asked me to do, I'd have to come up with an extra hour a day for the next week or 2 and really study to be good at it. I don't have that kind of time. For crying out loud, I already get here at 7 a.m. and before 7 a.m. in the morning. I'm here until 5 or 6 o'clock every night. How am I going to find an extra hour to study this stuff? Come on. Come on. You know, if you're writing service, I know people have written service for 20, 30, and even 40 years, and over that lifespan of being on the service drive, you can't find an extra couple of weeks every few years or once a year to do something different that's going to make the job easier, more profitable for you? Come on. How about if you do this? I'll help you find an hour. When you go home and you're binge watching Netflix tonight, and you're watching 4 or 5 episodes in a row that are an hour each, instead of doing 4 or 5, why don't you do 3 or 4? There's the extra hour. Try that, all right? So we exaggerate our difficulties that really aren't difficulties at all because they're just based on fear. We're looking for excuses on why not to change. Now, there's 2 more reasons I have for this, but before I do, I want to talk to you about a couple things that's going on here at Pro Talk, man, because we got some stuff going on. I'm not kidding around. We've announced our fall workshop schedule, and you want to get signed up for these. These things have really taken off. I mean, we're having early sales and pre-sales like we've never seen before this early on. But here's what we got going on in the fall. We're going to Toronto. We're going back to Phoenix. We're going to Indianapolis, Indiana, my hometown, home of the Indy 500. And we're going to Atlanta, Georgia. This workshop is a 2-day workshop taught exclusively by me. It's called The 6-Step Road to Service Department Service Advisor Success. In that, I will show you how to get your customer retention above 85% within 9 months. I'll show you how to get perfect. Yes, I use the word perfect because that's what I'm going to show you how to get. Perfect survey scores. I'm going to show you how to get an instant 5/10 increase. I don't care where you are when you walk in the room. You walk out assuming you weren't doing what I asked you to do before you came in. You go back and you start doing it. I will get you an instant 5/10 increase in sales. Now, the way the average service advisor is paid, that's an extra $10,000 to $12,000 a year in personal income for each one of you. This is going to be a great workshop, and here's what's even greater about it. I am freshening up this workshop, and I'm adding some new content. 25% of it's going to be stuff that's not been taught in one of my workshops before. Now, we've used it for a while on the service drives. We've tested tested it out, so we know it works, we know it gets results, and I'd have no problem sharing with you what those results are. But this could be a fun workshop. If you've been to mine before, I'll guarantee you 25% of what you're getting ready to see you've never seen before, and chances are, if you've not been in one of my workshops in the last 3 years, over 50% of what you're going to see you've not seen before. Get yourself signed up for this. You go to automotiveservicetraining.com, automotiveservicetraining.com. You can get registered there, or simply dial 1-800-248-2931, 1-800-248-2931, and anybody that picks up that phone can get you registered. Do it today. Now, if you're an individual out there and your business owner, your managers won't pay for you to go, won't buy a ticket, you're going to use your own credit card or use your own personal check, you call us up. I've got a special deal for you. I will give you at least 50% off. Also, we've got this book here called Right Service, Write Your Own Paycheck. It will show you how to make $100,000 a year. It also has a video training program we can get you signed up for that you got to see. Now, if you're serious about doing what you're doing, writing service, you want to be the best you can be. If you're going to be there all day long, you want to maximize the opportunity. I'm giving you all kinds of ways to do it. You come to my workshop, watch the videos, buy the book, get involved. 1-800-248-2931, automotiveservicetraining.com. Do it today. Do it today. Now, because here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to say one more thing and I'll move on. These workshops, Toronto, Phoenix, Indianapolis, and Atlanta, Georgia, they're going to sell out. All right? Believe it or not, two of them are already halfway sold out. And one of the ones that's halfway sold out is the last one we're doing in November. So call today. All right. So we were answering the question that people have. Why is it seems like after service advisors have been on the job for at least a year, they stop responding to training? And as we've discussed, it's because of fear. They get into this new position and things are going well for them. They're making the amount of money that you told them they're going to make, which is more than they've ever made, or maybe they're even making more than that. Their mortgage is paid, their kids are fed, they're making their car payments, they've got money set aside, they're taking nice vacations, and so they fear if they change anything in that formula, they may go backwards. And so how they come to those conclusions is I had five things that happens when you look at change through the eyes of fears. You look at training through the eyes of fear. What happens is we underestimate our abilities, okay? We underestimate our abilities. 2, we gripe. We complain, and all the time we take griping and complaining. If we just took the time and studied, we'd solve the problem. But we gripe and complain until our leaders give up on us and just say, you know what, do it your way, throw their hands up and they walk away. We exaggerate our difficulties. We make it sound much harder than it's going to be. Well, if I change over here, I'm going to have to change that, and then this is going to happen, or I can't find the extra time, which is baloney. If you can't find at least a half hour, an hour a day to increase your income and increase your survey scores, increase your customer retention, all things are going to help you live the life you deserve and help your family have everything they need and want. You can't, then come on. Because here's the way I look at it, you know. If you go home and your son or your daughter or your grandkid, your niece, your nephew wants a swing set and they don't have one, it ain't their fault, Dad. Extra half hour, hour a day could change everything. But we had 2 more things that happened as well, and here's what they are. When you look at training and the changes that are asking most training for you to make, the 4th reason that we don't make it happen is we look at it through the eyes of fears is because, number 4, we get discouraged. We get discouraged because we're being asked to do something that we really don't want to do. So we take a half-hearted attitude toward it, and we really never get down what it is they're asking us to do. We don't get the results. We don't get what we're expecting from it, so we get discouraged and we walk away from it and we go back to what we were doing before, and that's not good. All right? So number 4, we get discouraged. Number 5, we just simply give up. We give up because the leader either gives up. We give up because we never were fully invested. We give up because we're not seeing the immediate results, because we live in a society today that if it doesn't happen right now from the first thing, then it's never going to work, and we give up. We don't work it. We don't work it hard. You know, and so here's what you have to understand. If somebody's asking you to do something different, let's say it's your manager, because that's usually where it's coming from, or a business owner, you've got to assume they're asking you to do something different because they're basing what they're asking you to do different on information you're never going to see. You don't look at it as they're trying to punish you. You look at it because I hear this all the time from service advisors. You know, well, this guy's okay, but it seems like every 7 or 8 months they come up with something new they want you to do. They want you to try something different. Well, if it works, who cares? That's the kind of person you want to work for. One that's always looking at what you're doing, no matter how well it's working, and say, is there a way to fine-tune it? Is there a way to make it easier? Is there a way to make it more professional? Is there a way to make it more profitable? Is there a way to make it more entertaining? Is there a way to make it easier for the person doing the job? You want to work for somebody who's always always trying to figure out a way to make things better and easier and more profitable for you. It's better than having a manager that sits there on their duff 5 or 6 years in a row, never changing anything. That's a recipe for disaster. But we give up, number 5, because we get no results, because we never really fully bought in. So again, it seems like the timeline is you get a new advisor in, they've been there for a year, they get comfortable, they get set in their ways, they're making their mortgage, things are happening, the money's there and all that stuff, and so they don't want to change because they fear that if they change, things would go backwards. So what happens when they do that, again, quick reviews, they underestimate their abilities, they gripe their way out of it, they exaggerate the difficulty of doing the new change, they get discouraged, or they give up. And leaders, let me tell you, the one secret to keeping all of this from happening. The one secret to take any advisor, whether they've been with you for one day or they've been with you for 40 years, one way to get them to buy into your training like that. I talked about it earlier. Whenever you're going to ask somebody to make any type of change, especially when it comes to dealing with your customers, any type of change for any reason, the secret is you learn how to do word for word, letter for letter, step for step, what it is you're asking them to do. You learn how to do it better than anybody else. So when it comes time to try it out for real, after you've role-played with your people and you work with them on it and they still have the fear, you step up, as we do here at Pro Talk, you step up and say, you know what, I see you fear this, so I'm going to take your next 4, 5, 6, 7 customers. I want you to stand behind me, and notice I'm going to use every word track exactly the way it's written. I'm going to do every step the way I've asked you to do it, and you're going to see it work. And if it does, all I ask is that you try it. And you know what, if you do it, it will work, it does work, they'll try it with enthusiasm, and they'll never look back, and in the future, when you bring out more training, it will become easier and easier to train them. They'll buy into it faster because they'll see that training and change is the way to stay fresh, because I've said it thousands of times, if you're not changing and you're not evolving, then you're staying idle, and when you stay idle, you go backwards, and when you go backwards far enough, you'll back yourself right out of the business. Hey, my name is Jeff Cowan, coming to you from Jeff Cowan's Pro Talk with my weekly podcast called Right Service, Write Your Own Paycheck, the path to making $100,000 a year. I appreciate you being here. I want you to bring your friends back next week. In the meantime, between now and next week, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go out and get as many customers as you can excited about what it is you do and what you have to offer. So excited, in fact, that they buy your product, give you a perfect survey score, come back and do more business, and you collect a ton of commission, and then you can live the life that you deserve. Because if you're going to be there all day long, let's maximize the opportunity. Because here's what I can tell you. I say it every week, and I'm going to say it again. What I just ask you to do is exactly what I'm going to do. I do it every day. With that, have a great day, and I'll see you in another week. Take care of yourself.